Howdy, howdy, howdy. Well, here we are for another Thursday night, and the last one for this month. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's see if we get anybody in the chat, because I certainly don't have anybody on the panel right now. I may wind up being the only one doing the table dance tonight. Alrighty. We got a few coming on in here. Not in chat yet, though. Well, as Bill says, we'll do a little bit of homework. Next week, there'll be no shows. Bill's taking a little time off. Mine's not scheduled, so. November the 4th will be Who's Big Bill Talking To? And then November the 7th will be the start of the new season for Railroad Empires. How we build them. That'll be Robert and his crew. So be sure and set your calendars for those. All shows are at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so adjust your time zone for it. Well, we got Brad from Ottawa. How you doing? And Mr. Dwight. No, there's no debate here. Hey, Rob, how you doing? Why you run naked for? Alright, I think I'm going to start a new rule. Every sixth person in the chat's going to have to come in on the panel. Michael, how you doing? Samurai. Hey, Mark, he just popped in too. Alrighty. Well, we're getting towards the next 2 months of holidays. Getting Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then the New Year's over with, and we'll start a whole new year. Hopefully it'll be a lot better than this one here. I certainly would like to get back to going to train shows again. It's posted on YouTube, Mark. In fact, it's whereby.com/MRL-live. Hey, Curtis, how you doing? Yeah, Dwight's already getting snow on the ground. I just saw a thing in the weather report earlier tonight. The midsection's going to be getting some snow and pretty chilly weather. Oh, Michael Conley, I see you just you popped in too. Well, maybe Andy, Ralph, or somebody will jump in here in a few minutes. We'll see what happens. I heard somebody say that as of right now, they plan on doing Amherst in January out there in Pennsylvania. I think that's the biggest show of the whole year. We got big 5 buildings. They fill up with nothing but trains. Any and everything in all sizes. So what do you guys think about these shows where they've been talking about the small layouts to shelf switching layouts and all? That small layout series that seemed to have worked out real well, went over big. And Bill's had a couple other people on his show with small layouts. Just had the Gandy brothers on this week. Samurai says if Wolf doesn't shut it down. Okay. Maybe we'll get lucky. If Amherst opens up, maybe a few more will start opening up. So who's been making any progress on their layouts? All right, Mark says Amherst is on, but final decision will come in November 31st. Hey, Brad down under, how you doing? All right, Michael said the small layout series has been great. The whole negative space / less is more is good advice. Tough to follow, though. How do you mean tough to follow, Mike? Yeah, Rob said he's been trying to inventory his collection, but it's gotten out of control. I don't even want to think about trying to inventory the stuff I bought. I got it kind of all over the place here. Okay. Let's see, my microphone doesn't seem to be too loud for some reason. Boost it up a little bit here, see what happens. Like y'all really want to hear me talk about nothing. Alrighty. Well, Mr. William A., how you doing?
Johnny, pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Figured it was about time I tried to join. So if I can get everything to work here.
All righty, I'll be good.
All right.
Let's see, Michael said when you have a small space, the temptation is max out everything, fill it up. That's true. Samurai said working a little on both the N-scale layout as well as fixes some Japanese metal locomotives that he got. You have to take some pictures of some of those, send them to me. I'll put them up here on the show. I'll be interested to see. And all it is Johnny at MallRailroadingLive.com is the email. Anybody wants to send pictures, show them off, send them to me. I'll put them up here. You were in scale, aren't you, William?
I'm actually both. So one that you can see in the background, that's the HO scale.
Okay.
And then this one's right here is the N scale that I've been working on since the start of COVID has curtailed travel.
Yeah. I thought that was looking like N scale.
Yeah.
Using Pico track and turnouts.
Nope. All Atlas code 55.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I kind of wish I would have used the Pico turnouts. I hear they're more reliable. These I have flanges will nip the points every once in a while, and I've had to go back in and file them down and kind of file out the frog a little bit just so I get clearance, and I'm already using semi-scale wheels on everything.
Yeah. Well, you can always go to fast tracks and just get you a jig. That way you know you got good turnouts.
Eventually, I probably will.
I do. I've got the number 6 and number 5 I built for HOs.
I think that's probably the way to go. Like on the HO scale, it's all code 70. And I started to collect that stuff like 20-some years ago. So that's what I ended up going and choosing for that one. And the code 55, I got a good deal on eBay before I even started building the N scale and thinking about it. So it's like, well, I've got it. That's what I'm going to use.
Well, yeah.
It works well, and it looks pretty good.
Well, as long as you don't have a, it's not too big a pain in the neck to, adjust the frogs and all turnouts so they work pretty decent.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. What I ended up doing to kind of deepen the frogs is I took one of the little abrasive cutoff wheels that you use for like a Dremel, and then just using it by hand and just kind of going in and essentially filing it down narrow just so that the flanges don't nick it. And that's worked pretty good. I've still got to do a few more, a little bit deeper. There's a couple of engines. I got a 440 where the front pilot wheels will bounce a little bit, but
yeah,
it's gotten better since I've been playing with it.
Yeah, I got some cutoff discs. They're 9 thousandths thick. I use it to cut the isolation joints on the turnouts.
Yeah.
Although I gotta really get a true rotary tool, because using a Dremel, you're still at an angle because those machines are so big.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do to not be at an angle. You get the like 5-degree angle attachment, which gets you closer, but that's kind of what I like with the Atlas Code 55 that I got. They're all isolated. So this one's a DCC using an NCE system, and not an insulated joiner on the layout.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, Samurai, he said he's got some videos on his YouTube for 2 of the locomotives so far, as well as unboxing and testing, working on a 3rd one. Okay, what's your YouTube channel, Samurai? Mark's saying that small can make a busy layout. That's true. But you gotta learn to incorporate that negative space. What's your thoughts on that, William?
I like negative space. There's certain areas where you want to have quiet in a layout, just watch a train run, and it doesn't need a whole lot other than just scenery to let them go through.
Yeah. I guess, like Bill said, that was a new phrase that Tom Kay come up with, because really hadn't heard anybody use that until Tom did. I guess I should be the mean dad. My son just went over and loaded the washing machine. Take his clothes out and put mine in there. Oh, okay. So your samurai name here in the chat's the YouTube channel. So we'll have to go check you out. Yeah. Michael Conley. Negative space is a good excuse to pick up a static grass applicator. Might just do that. What do you like to use to make your roads with, William? Or do you have that many roads?
There, let me get my headset back on. I use a combination of plaster and then also like dark gray ballast that I'll do a flood. Okay, let's see if I can maybe show. I do a flood of white glue, and then I actually get top road. Yeah, so that's what I use for the most part, at least on the end scape. I've got blacktop roads that go into the industrial and off over to the engine service shop. HO scale. So same thing. I'll press it in pop can, and it makes pretty good looking blacktop.
Yeah.
Other areas, like over here,
Yeah, we're starting.
Use Hydrocal and just plaster of Paris, pour it, weather it, kind of carve it a little bit, and looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, your audio's starting to break up a little bit, I guess, because you're moving the laptop around. Pirates of the Mall Trains says hello everyone. How you doing, Pirates? Must be a fan of Captain Jack Sparrow. Mark had earlier asked Dwight how he's been. Dwight's telling him it's getting a little too cold to do anything. He's been spending the whole summer building and airbrushing some mall cars, scale mall cars. What part of the country are you in, Pirates? Arkansas. I think you guys gonna be getting a little cold this weekend. like Jetstream's going to take a pretty good dip on us. Did I ask you, William, or? Well, I guess you're kind of far away to answer, but that's okay. What your thoughts were on these last few shows with small layouts? Okay, I didn't mean for you to have to move everything back around.
See, that's the nice thing about having wheels on the layouts is you can move them around and you can get where you need to be pretty quick. Oh, I like the small layout shows. Really good content, excellent model railroads, some really good ideas. Stuff that eventually, not that I'm going to do anything really prototypical for modeling and for operation, but I would like to do something a little bit more than just having some fun putting trains together and breaking them up. So that gave me some good ideas.
Okay, that's good. We get you interested in coming in these shows, we'll have to get you to get a pair of wireless headphones.
Yeah, I've got a Bluetooth that should tie into this, but
No,
not that I've tried.
No, don't even try. That's more headaches than it's worth. I can tell you that right now. Well, thank you, Dwight. He said that we did a great job with the small layout shows. Well, Bill and I, we just, as we've been accused of by a few, we sit in the easy chair and everybody else is the ones that do most of the work. But yes, we've been getting some good shows out. Yeah, Michael Collins said nice to see some innovations on the Proto Throttle too. The wheel squeak, for example. I think that wheel squeak was actually not in the Proto Throttle. That was where he set up a player and used IR sensors to trip when the train entered the curves. Then it'd start playing the wheel squeak. I've seen that on a couple of the big layouts around here. That way when the train passed or when people walk by, different sounds would start playing. They use IR sensors or motion detectors on the fascia of the layout, so when people walk by, it'd start up to different sounds. Which that does make layouts a little more interesting, a little more lifelike too, when you got your sounds going. Yes, Michael said he thought he had sound at the he does. He's got the river sound too. I think he had some kind of drain or something right there, and that's where he hid the speaker at, inside that drain for the river sounds. I know Miles was talking about one time that way to hide the speakers was just put some something like cheesecloth over the top of the speaker, maybe 2 layers, and put a very light amount of ground scenery over the top of it so it'll play through it. That way you didn't see the speaker. I don't guess we got any kind of debate tonight or anything. We're running a little light tonight. I'll just give y'all a little reminder so you don't think something happened. There will not be a show next week. Bill's taking time off, and nobody else had anything scheduled for the last week of October. But we will be in November the 4th. We'll be Who's Big Bill Talking To. Oh, okay. Why you run Naked Force? So there is a debate on right now, so I'm sure a lot of people are watching that, taking aspirin and all. Also, November the 7th. Yeah. That's the reason why I don't have TV with you. I don't have headaches now. But November the 7th will be the return of Railroad Empires, How We Do Them, with Robert and his crew. Well, I'll be darned. Here comes somebody we hadn't seen in a while. I don't think he can hear us, so.
I'm trying to get my speakers to work to hear everybody.
May have to work on the volume of the microphone too.
Just my I got old computer speakers here, external ones.
Yeah, but your mic volume's kind of low. Dwight's asking William what kind of locos he has. Well, he's got the kind that runs on tracks. He's got HO and N scale, about like you do, Dwight. Looks like he's got steam N scale sitting there on track.
Yeah, actually, it's a variety. So the HO scale is just regular DC, a lot of the equipment that I've got on there, I've had for, 30 years. A few newer engines, but I run a lot of Bachmann and Athearn on the HO scale. The N scale has a variety of Kato and Atlas, as well as some Bachmann engines, and even a couple of Model Power engines that are DCC sound equipped.
I mean, are you running steam and diesel, or?
Yeah, steam and diesel on both layouts. Both are set, sort of in the mid 1950s-ish time. And the way I've got it modeled is they're actually a continuation of the same railroad. So I've got some equipment on the HO scale that's the same as some of the equipment I've got on the N scale. And I've got a little staging area, so I can run an N-scale train, and within reason, make it the same on an HO side and run it off staging to go into the HO scale switching and yard area, where I can break it up and make up another train and then run it, and then have a similar one on the N scale that I can run around.
Yeah. You have to do like they do on TV, get you, when you do your videos, do that strange transition, makes everything disappear. So when you transition, shoot your video, you go from HO to N scale.
Yeah, I've done that on a couple of videos that I've got on my channel. I've got a Pennsylvania Doodlebug that identical. They're Bachmann, so identical on both the HO and N. And I've run them from like the N scale, and then the fade out, and then have it reappear near the engine terminal on the HO scale and run it on the layout there.
Yeah. You can go put a caption in there. Look, guys, I shrunk my train. Oh, Michael, is that what that guy's name is? Joey? Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's me. Yes, I'm alive.
Hadn't seen you around in a while.
Oh, we've been very busy. I recently got married.
Oh, did you?
Yes. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And we been very busy with the homestead. We just had 2 newborn baby goats, both boys. So we were fairly busy the past couple of months preparing for the wedding. We had it on our homestead here. So with the animals, and including our chickens and ducks and our guineas and our puppy, and working full time and preparing for the wedding, I was one very busy dude.
Yeah.
And the first time I'm actually for the first time using these paint pens. Get them on eBay for like, I don't know, $1. They actually work really well. I like them. I'm gonna start learning how to do graffiti work. I can find the book. I think I have it here. Yes. I work at Ace Hardware in Prairie Grove, Arkansas, and one of our customers gave me this book. It's all on graffiti, history of graffiti on railroad cars.
Yeah. So, okay.
So now I'm really excited to really start learning how to create graffiti from the prototype. It's getting towards the winter time, so that means more model railroading for everybody.
Yeah. Dwight said congratulations too.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Michael Conley.
I miss being on here. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I have a client. He's got 3 modern day box cars. He wants me to weather and do some graffiti. And this is my first time weathering a River Counter Series Tier 4 BNSF locomotive. I did a Union Pacific one, so now I'm doing BNSF. So this will be exciting.
Yeah. Okay.
I weathered one that was featured on Scale Trains on Facebook. I think an AC-44 BNSF River Counter, and I told my friend, "Hey, I'm buying a locomotive from you." It's the only like model locomotive I own. I'll be owing. So,
Yeah.
as far as I I model mostly 90s. So, but yeah, this is really really nice model. These are absolutely super detailed.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful models. It's electrifying once you take it out of the box, and then you try not to get electrocuted when you run it.
Yeah, Dave's hobbies and things just jumped in. That's why you were asking about graffiti.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start creating modern graffiti on 3 cars. I mean, and using paint pens. I haven't never used paint pens like that before. I'm practicing on a box car right now, and it's looks like a 4th grader started writing.
Well, hey, you got to
It's
start
actually
off
really-
slow and come on into it.
Oh, absolutely. Let's put it this way: 4th graders gonna write a lot better than I'm trying on this car. So.
And when did you learn how to write? Wasn't that 1st grade?
High school. No, not really. Yeah, it's going to take some practice for sure.
Yeah.
Now I am River Counter Scale Trains. Oh, the Greenbrier Gunderson hoppers. These are beautiful. Scared to touch all the detail on it. I got big fingers, so these are really nice. And just some weathering on it, not much. So we start with these rolling bearing wheels. Try to lose the little roll bearings that are on it. Michael Mark needs to make a tool that when parts fall on the floor, you can't find it. They have to make something that you can find them easily, because everybody's making these super detailed models, and it's harder and harder. And well, it's easy to lose stuff now. I have a client of mine who worked on the Arkansas Missouri Railroad with me. He had a gentleman out in Oklahoma who custom painted these switchers and the railroads, the Arkansas and Ozarks Railroad, and I weathered these for him. Here, that's one of them. I don't know if it's hard to see. It's a little short line railroad that only had a small amount of trackage, and I forgot how it ended, but it's only had a short lifespan. But there's another one. These are based on prototype photos.
Howdy.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Curtis. How y'all doing?
Doing
Okay.
good.
And Curtis, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Joe.
Yes.
Pirates of the model train said to check out Dan's Railroad 2011 here
yes.
on YouTube. He does great work on graffiti and weathering.
Dan's Railroad, yes, he does. Actually, that's how I started learning how to weather, was from him watching his videos. When I was a touring musician out of Nashville, I sat on the road and watched probably countless videos of his work. He is unbelievable. I actually brought model trains with me on tour and practiced at the hotel room. My bass player goes, "What the heck are you doing?" I said, "I'm practicing artwork here."
Joe,
Yes, Mark.
congratulations, bro. I've been following your pictures there.
Thank you.
Happily married. Now he's,
Yes, we are. Definitely.
now the selective hearing comes in.
Oh, I had that since I was born.
You want to talk about that selective hearing?
Though.
So, Curtis, how you been doing? You're muted, Curtis. That's the reason why you sound so good.
No, I'm trying to get the password over to Ken, and I've got to go back into my room and give it to him, so I muted it. Got to put it in the chat.
I already did.
Yes, Michael. Mark is one of those Boston guys.
Can you get it now, Ken? It's in the chat.
Actually, this technique that I am using to color these train wheels was from Dan's Railroad, Dan's Railroad 2011, which is the Anita's acrylics. And I had these same bottles for like 3 years, 4 years maybe now. That's how I weather my wheels. Just about the same way he does. And then along the way, you learn different techniques from other model railroaders and other mentors, such as Ralph Renzetti.
Andy's asking, is that the one that does the hand-drawn pencil work graffiti?
You know, I haven't. Hopefully, I do have. That's how I started with small graffiti, just using these kind of pencils. They work fairly well.
Yeah.
And my wife has these artist crayons, which actually work really nice too. I have a boxcar up here actually that has that. Let me see if we can grab it.
Well, see, Ken made in, and we got BG here too, which is kind of eluding me as far as the name goes right now. I'm trying to figure out who BG is.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
But this sorry, I'm trying to go too blurry, but there's a little bit of just light graffiti on the sides. Some of the decal work, but those are using the artist crayons.
Yeah.
The goal is to make those, not use decals, but actually create that kind of artwork.
Oh, that's who BG is.
It's a big guy. That's why I was right. Big Bill. Big guy.
Well, I just started using this stuff tonight. It's well, it's kind of hard to see it, but I believe it's a military paint, but it's an oil-based light rust. It's called
really?
Arbalung. But
I've never heard of them.
Well, I didn't either. I just when I picked it up at the thing, the guy said it was coming in new, because I was waiting for the interactives to come in, and they didn't come in, but this did, and Like I said, I just tried it, and
Looks like that might have been a German paint.
yeah, but it says right on it for planes and figures.
Yeah.
But it's for plastic, but I think it's a color they use for the military,
Yeah.
in military modeling. But like I said, the camera's hard to.
Well, Curtis, Andy said that that's the best oil paint by far.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I try. Because I've got all the others in Winsor Newton and that, but this one just seemed to work a little bit better. But this using Ralph's technique of putting a dot and spreading it down.
Yes.
Get the camera to focus in. That's how it kind of bled into the lines
Yeah.
on his conveyor.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out pretty good. It's
Ron Stranger Things has just popped into the chat. How you doing, Ron?
Hey, Ron.
Go on.
there on. So as soon as I get back to the hobby shop next week, I'm gonna see if he's got some more of these paints. And
Well, hold it back up in front of the camera because Ron's asking what's the name of the paint.
get it so you can see
Right
it.
there. Yeah. We'll let you figure that one out, Ron.
It looks like it's ABTEI Lung, LUNG. And it's got a little elephant on the side. And it says modeling oil color. And actually, it's made in Spain.
Yeah, okay. Andy Crawford said Winsor Newton is very good for sure, but that the German stuff is super concentrated and rich in color. It's so good you got to be gentle with it.
Yeah, yes. Because just like I said, I've got the other colors in the Winsor Newton. But this stuff, I was using just using the tip of a toothpick, and it was almost too much.
Yeah. You have to try a straight pen next time.
Yeah.
I do have a picture of. I think it's on my computer. I gotta go away from the camera for a second. Let's see.
Oh, thanks, Joe. You're building my layer over there. Thank you. You're such a nice
Hey,
guy.
we found there was a gentleman had a yard sale, and we found that for free. And
Really?
so, yeah, it's a four. Actually, there's track on it. It was brass. Unfortunately, you can't use brass. I have all the buildings in a bag, and the original transformer. It was the gentleman's father's layout, and he had it sitting in the garage, and he told me just take it. As long as you transport it, you can take it, and that's exactly what we did. And so I'm going to use the other side of the board underneath the phone, take all the wires out, use that, and use whatever foam I have left from my old layout in Tennessee, and start building. It's a 4x6, but I'm going to expand. We're going to expand it from to a 4x10 or 4x9. It's going to go from there all the way against the wall this way. And I'm going to use the track, basically almost the same track plan from the Model Railroad Magazine's project on the Virginia Railway, and some modifications for certain operations that I want to do. But that'll be the basic plan, and I'm going to use that layout to document and write articles and start my path. Start my forgot the word to use, but really just start learning how to become a master model railroader. So that's going to be the layout to use. So it was really a blessing to find that.
Adrian, he just popped in. Have you got an email or know anything if Trainmasters has opened back up yet? I haven't seen any emails from him. I know he's supposed to. He was saying he's going to open a new store last month, September.
Well, for people that haven't seen me, this is my new room. Work in progress.
Yeah.
Well, these two boards, if you see my finger, follow my finger. I found those hanging next to the dumpster because they're doing construction around here. And I don't know what size they are. They're half-inch plywood. By the looks of it, it wasn't big enough to do the walls over. When they do apartments over here, they redo everything. And it was by the dumpster. It was great.
Yeah, that's good.
So Curtis,
Yes.
you just look at the brush streaks here on this NS caboose that I did. These
Yep.
were Ralph Renzetti's technique all along here. With the oil little dots up here, and actually kept the rust up there, because there was multiple prototype photos that I used. But this one actually has some of the rust streaks. And so I combined like 3 photos into one model. And like Ralph was showing you, put the dots up here, but here's actual rust that was on the caboose. And then I with the mineral spirits, I struck it downward, just enough.
Yep.
Just like that.
That over the top of the window, you used what, a straight pen, just dot that in?
No, very fine brush.
No, over the window near the end of the caboose. The big window on the side. Other
Over
end.
here.
Other end. Down.
There
Now keep
you
moving.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
you go.
That's also Ralph's other technique. It was some of that burnt umber, and I dabbed a sponge and just lightly blotched dab the model to get some of that looks like just some rust spots. And what I didn't like, I took a little bit of water and on a Q-tip, and it wiped it right off. So not all of it. It was like a bunch of it right here, and I knocked off what I didn't want there.
Okay, you must be modeling what, the late 60s?
Me?
No, that's a customer, Curtis.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, he does his own work. He does.
yeah.
His own business.
Testing the brush model weathering is my business. And this is for a client.
okay, because I was looking at the modern safety stripes on it. It's like, well, that's...
He wanted stripes because he wanted something like this, particular picture. But there are photos he gave me that didn't have the stripes, and so but I like the way the rust looked on it then. So to me, either they repainted it and it got dirty all over again, and then they just left it. So
Wow.
or something, I don't know. Well, actually, he gave me there's another caboose. I think this is number 49. I think it was number 44, 48. And I used some prototype photos from that one too, because
Yeah,
he really
well-
wanted it more filthy than what the model was.
Well, with North Fork and Southern, it really doesn't matter. I mean, Santa Fe is the only one that mattered.
Yeah, that's right. Just like that.
All right, we're going to catch up here. Dwight has informed us that that paint you got, Curtis,
Yes.
that is a German company
Okay.
making paint in Spain. It's military or that's their military or office department.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And
All I
let's
know
see.
is it's got just like Andy said, it's stronger, and it also seems to be creamier
Yeah.
than the Newton.
Well, Newton is American made. All right, Mark, you're stuck to Mike right in the fan.
But this is just my room. I got to get it all organized.
And Andy had
And
down
that
there.
back.
Andy also said, Joey, is that a custom paint job or does someone make a cabin car that in that scheme? That was a custom job, Andy.
Yeah, that's just not a bad idea to make one of those. I actually thought about scratch building a camp car, creating a camp car.
So, what has Ken been up to lately? Hadn't seen much of you.
Not much model railroading for me for over a year now.
Yeah.
I'm doing one-to-one model railroading.
You
It's
work?
not really model railroading at all. It's called a remodel job.
Well, you working at the railroad now?
No. I'm a state employee still.
Oh, okay.
So I said I'm just doing one-to-one. It's a remodel job. So I've not done much model railroading.
Yeah.
A lot of the virus, the COVID, has killed a lot of the train shows for us. So they're planning on 1 in 2 weeks in Raleigh at the state fairgrounds. So it could even get killed. When I say get killed, it's very possible that the last minute the show organizer just said it's too risky and we're just not going to have enough vendors, and so they could cancel the show. So
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing for Amherst in January.
is it?
Yeah, they said they're going to see about doing it this coming January, but they'll make the final decision in October 31.
November 31st. November 31st.
Yeah.
Oh, November 31st.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
November, after Thanksgiving. So there's been no word on Train Fest, but that's supposed to be going on in a couple weeks, isn't it? Or a week?
So far, I have a few good friends in Alabama, and they said there's a train show in Pelham that's south of Birmingham. And there's still a train show going on. I think it's this month or next month. And they haven't canceled that. Again, Pelham's a small town. Doesn't mean they're not going to get outsiders, so I'm actually surprised they're still having it.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to possibly doing this show in a couple weeks. My trailer's been parked for almost a year now, so I'm ready to get it out of the driveway and take it to the show and set modules up. Have fun running trains. So,
Yeah.
how about yourself?
Nah. I just been very busy with life right now.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Well, Ken kind of knows what I'm talking about because I'm a executor on the wheel, so
Yeah.
it's dealing with all these people and everything.
Right.
Well, I wonder if the show over in Tampa is going to happen this year. You can always make a run down here.
Yeah, I've heard that show in Tampa never turns out to be. Oh, no, it wasn't Tampa. Where was it? More towards Miami. They had a show that was kind of a flop.
Oh,
About
I
a
don't
year.
know. I haven't been there. Tampa's that big show at the State Fair.
Yeah.
Somewhere around the 12th of December or something like that.
Yeah. Dwight saying no train fest, he thought. Very high COVID in Wisconsin.
Mm. So what are you using? Craft paints?
Me, I am using Anita's acrylic.
Anita's acrylic?
Yes. These are excellent. I love them, and these big bottles They were $2.99. I probably got them on sale Hobby Lobby for, I don't know, I think $1.75, $2, and I had these same tubes for 3 years.
Yeah, I got on a kick buying the craft paints. I hardly ever use them.
It's hard to see, but let's see. We'll go up this way. That's my all my acrylics and some oils.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm probably like $5 up there. Besides, on this shelf, because all of them you get a Walmart, Hobby Lobby, 50 cents.
Yeah. See, I've got 110 paints in that rack of the acrylics, and then I've got all my Model Flex and Vallejo and all that in there, and Model Master, but that's going out of business.
It's a shame. I like Model Master.
Model Master's going out of business?
Yep. Yeah, they Testers is only going to do the large spray paint cans that you buy at like Walmarts and that stuff.
All these paint companies, which I'm still burnt from the loss of scale cut polyscale that I loved all those years ago when I got back into the hobby, to find out that those companies that I knew and understood and loved and went away put me in a frenzy of trying to find paints. I used a lot of the Vallejo stuff, and I found it difficult to work with. Ralph convinced me to use the Tamiya stuff finally. And he may not even know this exactly, but I worked at a hobby shop when I was relatively young, and that was kind of the fight. The Tamiya paints were the paints that all the plastics bottles used, and all the railroad guys wouldn't get close to Tamiya paint. So it took me a little while to get over that kind of political distinction there and try Tamiya, which I have fallen in love with. It's great, but
yeah, I don't know. I've been using Model Flex, and I haven't had a problem with it. Now, the only thing I am upset about is this used to be the, get in here. This is what the old Model Flex bottles look like. Just kind of short, stubby.
yeah, Badger bottle looks like Badger bottles, yeah.
Yeah, well, the new bottle is like this.
Oh, I haven't seen those yet.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, after I went out through all that trouble making this to hold those bottles, they're about a half an inch too short to put these bottles in. So I got drawers filled with these because I bought another 100 bottles of this stuff.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Well, that's the only thing. That's one of the things that's been complicated about finding the right paint is these Tamiya paints come in two different size bottles. There's no two white ones. Come in two different size bottles, and they come in another size that's even larger, whatever, a clear coat or something is in the larger size. There's no great way to position those unless you put them down so that you can see what they are. You have to put the bottom up in order to see what they are, like some trays. So I've never figured out the right arrangement except for just straight on a shelf where you can look at them straight on.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I think the only thing that I have from Tamiya, I want to say, is their dull coat.
Yeah, it's a good one too. It's probably the only one I bought that I run through an airbrush. I always use this Tester's junk for years. Well, I mean, this is great dull coat. I got no problem with that. It's fine out of a can. But I've got the Tamiya stuff, gloss and dull as well.
Well, I've yet to figure out. I don't want to run it through any of my airbrushes until I figure out a good cleaning system for it.
Yeah,
That was-
labels are tricky.
That was my issue with True Color. Then I
that's
used properly and destroyed 2 airbrushes of mine.
I've got a dedicated airbrush for running enamels or solvent-based stuff through. I have run some oil washes and I've even used some inks that are alcohol-based, and I use those in one airbrush, a less expensive airbrush, because I'm not doing fine detail work with it. And then when I do like my fading and stuff, per Ralph's technique, like all of us do, which is just an acrylic, then I could run it through my iWater. But I just use like a $30 StarTAC for my solvent base, and then I soak it in mineral spirits. I've got a glass, whatever Pyrex container that I just throw the gun right down in the mineral. I'll clean it out a little bit so it doesn't dirty the mineral spirits up. Then I just throw the whole gun and all right down in the mineral spirits, and it seems to work for me. And it's a $30 gun, so.
Okay, so you're talking using like this kind of mineral spirits, or?
Well, let's see. Is it here? No, I've got it at the office.
Are you just talking about regular, like Home Depot cans of mineral spirits?
Yep, I buy it by the gallon, big metal gallon of it. Mine just happens to be at the office, or I'd show you, but I buy a gallon of it in the big metal containers, like that. Just mineral spirits, paint thinner, mineral spirits, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I've got a small thing here too. I really like these metal containers for some reason. I don't know if it's nostalgia or something, but don't get me wrong. There's purposes for all of these things. I've got turpentine. I've even got some turpenoid, although I don't like that much. Except I used to use turpenoid to clean brushes with, but I don't really like the turpenoid very good. And xylene and MEK, and I mean every one of these have a different purpose. So. I mean, it's amazing. I've said before, it is amazing. All the hobbies I've been in, from electronics to cutting my own circuit boards, chemically etching circuit boards, to cleaning Harley Davidsons with chemicals and all that, caustic chemicals, and all the things I've been into. Being a model railroader, I have more dangerous chemicals and chemistry and reasons for exhaust hoods and ventilation than any other hobby. Is playing with toy trains.
All right, Steve Structures. How you doing, Steve? He just popped in here just shortly ago. Okay. He's saying bring back Floquil. Yeah, that won't happen because Testers owns that, and they're not about to let that out because that was always a better paint than what Testers can make.
Well, they have a problem with I don't know if it's an EPA problem or what, but there's some chemicals in those old paints that made them untenable to produce in the States.
Lead.
Yeah,
good old lead.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, but I knew it had some chemistry problem.
Yep, lead paint. They don't want anybody to have lead paint because some kid decided to eat his entire crib and came brain dead.
Oh, yeah. Probably a good idea. But it's hard. That's a hard problem. Every good paint, like every good adhesive or whatever, are rough chemically. Methyl ketone, or MEK, is spectacular. It's caustic as it can be, and it's you have to be careful with it. The xylene is even worse than that, and I use xylene with epoxies, and they are tremendously caustic and potentially cancer causing. Especially if you live in California. But I'm just being a little bit careful with it. Don't wash your hands in the stuff. It doesn't taste real good when you drink it. So be careful with the stuff. Wear some gloves. Put a little plastic mask on. Everybody has those these days. So do the basic precaution when you're pouring it. When I'm just using a micro brush and painting buildings, I don't do anything different. I don't put gloves on for that stuff. Just when I pour it in the bottle, I'll put a sticker on it.
See, now Ken just told me the other day to go to Home Depot and buy the MEK from them.
That's what I do.
Because this stuff's almost $5 a bottle now.
But it's not exactly the same. It's close. I bought a gallon of MEK, probably a lifetime supply for me, for $22 or $23 at Menards. But it's not exactly the same thing. If you buy, I like 10X7. That was my glue of choice for decades. I love 10X7.
Oh, it's coming back.
That's right. But I'm not sure if it's going to be the original mix or not. But it is mostly MEK. But it has some methylated chlorine, I think is what it is, added to it. What I'm looking for and what I'm going to do is buy a laboratory-grade bottle of methylated chlorine and just mix 5% of methylated chlorine. Yes, I love it.
I have not even opened this bottle yet.
It's worth guarding it.
I've been saving it.
Yeah,
But,
I still got some, but I don't use it right as of yet, unless I run into those where I really need it. But it's a mix of methylated chlorine and MEK. I think it's methylated chlorine. So, you know, if anybody's testing me on my chemistry, I might fail, but I think it's methylated chlorine. But
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Go ahead, Curtis.
And say I'm looking to see what it says is in it, but
yeah, it's hard to figure out. You could look it up, and there's I found it on like rail line forums where somebody was explaining the chemistry of it, and somebody else had done the hard work of experimenting, and I think they were saying between 5 and 10% methylated chlorine to MEK gives you that. So the problem, MEK is fast once it attacks the plastic, but it takes, say, a second and a half, 2 seconds to kick, to activate. The methylated chlorine accelerates the attack of the plastic. So it attacks in a quarter second, and then it works in that 1 second that we're used to. So it's a 1 second versus 3 second pause. That's a trouble for a lot of people. But if you're working with fine parts that are hard to hold them there under an optimizer or something, 1 second is a lot easier to work with than 3 seconds. So.
All right.
Go ahead,
Well,
Johnny.
we've already gone over the 1 hour mark, so Samurai's got a question. We'll get that one answered, and then we're going to call it a night. Samurai, someone said that they had a problem with True Colors paint in their airbrush. I just picked up some, but I haven't used the airbrush yet. Is it hard to clean the airbrush after the use, or is it just a bad paint?
The paint is really, really good. I did a lot of work with it, but I didn't properly thin it out. Now, Andy, you probably recall, we had this conversation a while ago. Put paint thinner in it with the True Color, correct?
Yeah, well, I can't remember what True Color is from a paint. Okay, True Color's an acrylic, right?
no.
No.
Oh, is True Color's yeah? Okay, if it's solvent based, then you have to use a solvent of whatever the right solvent is for the paint. I look online and see what other people are having success with. The safety caution with this is if you're using a paint, you're always safe if you use their thinner. I just can be a bit of a cheapskate sometimes, and I like to buy this stuff by the gallon. So that's one reason I went away from Vallejo acrylics, because you can't thin it with regular alcohol. It requires requires something special. So you can use their thinner, but I'm sure you can use mineral spirits if it's a solvent-based paint. Regular mineral spirits will work, surely.
Right, because remember I had the issues that if you didn't clean it right, or you would just pour just the bottle, just the paint, into the airbrush.
Oh, yeah.
It clogs up instantly, and you're done for.
Yes,
and that was my issue. I went through about $80, $90 in airbrushes within a month and a half, working on 2 projects for clients. And they were delayed because of that issue, because I didn't have an airbrush. But that's because I thin out the paint ahead of time. And when you clean it, you got to take your airbrush apart anyways, but especially with True Color paint. But
I rarely take my airbrush apart when I'm cleaning acrylics, but with solvents, I popped a couple parts apart, throw it in a piece of Pyrex and put a lid on it and stick it away. Because I don't spray. The only solvents that I spray these days, I'd be happy to, but the only solvents that I spray these days are dull coat and gloss, clear coats. But I've been playing with that natural acrylic floor wax that used to be called Future. I've been watching some people who I've used that before. I used it some years ago as an experiment with ballast, because some people, especially the host company, were using that as a ballast adhesive. And I don't love it as a ballast adhesive personally. Maybe I would if I was an O-scale, but I do like it as a natural acrylic gloss coat. Now it's made by Pledge, but it's a Pledge something floor. I'd have to look it up, but it's what used to be called Future Floor Finish. It's a natural or organic acrylic, and I've painted a couple of crappy cheap cars I have here to try some dry slides, some water slide decals with, and I went ahead and sprayed them with that Future. I haven't started doing the decklinger work, but I did put a clear coat on it, and it went on great. So I based off using solvent-based gloss.
Well,
And I've even heard people use. Sorry, Johnny. I've even heard of people using the Future Floor Finish. A lot of the military guys use the Future Floor anyway, I've heard a lot of those guys using it with a little bit of talcum powder to make their own dull coat. So I tend to experiment with that as well, and I'll let you guys know the results. But all right, Johnny, sorry, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, we've hit the 1 hour mark and passed it, so we'll go ahead on out now. Don't forget, we don't have any shows scheduled for next week, so it's not that we dropped off the face of the earth. November the 4th will be Who's Big Bill Talking To? And also November the 7th will be Railroad Empires, How We Build Them. They're coming back for another season. And they'll be here on November the 7th, which is a Saturday night. All shows are at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, so be sure and adjust your time zone for that. And we shall see you November the 4th for Who's Big Bill Talking To. So y'all have a good weekend and a good week. And we shall catch y'all a little later on.
Seeing you guys. Nice talking to you guys.
Care.
Yeah, appreciate everybody on the panel.
Joe.
Seeing you.
Appreciate everybody
Nice
coming
seeing you
in the
again.
panel.
Glad you're back.
Appreciate everybody on the panel coming in and everybody in the chat. Y'all have a good weekend. We'll talk to you later.